Here we are. Let's throw it in there. What got you started?
And it kind of was quite eye-opening, and I thought, oh my god, like, I'm not actually that fit. They're not like, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's never going to happen like that.
You've said that so well. Just teaches you how to take responsibility, how to be accountable.
You want something.
Yeah.
You have to go out and get it.
It was a big motivator. It really does change your perspective.
Also, it kind of carved our future.
Yeah. You know, I want a nice body. Well, to get there, you have to quite expect that. Here we are, doing our first podcast.
Oh my god, this is so exciting.
I know.
I'm so happy to finally kind of be doing this, you know, like we'd spoken about this so much, and it's kind of like coming into like reality.
It really is, and I'm just so glad that we've managed to get all the pieces together.
We did a lot of planning, you know, we sat there making like all our little episodes, what they're going to be about. But you know, we're finally here, we're doing it, and we're here to kind of sit and talk about what we're passionate about.
Yeah, which is the gym and fitness and
how we got into it, and a lot about mentality, and even obviously like the eating. But we're also here to, I think, show that it's not this, you know, we see on social media like this whole it girl, you know, and you get this like Pinterest aesthetic of like green smoothies and yoga mats and going on runs, and I'm not trying to like dismiss any of that, because a lot of it is, but we are kind of here to show that kind of like it's not always as aesthetic as it comes across.
Yeah, I suppose we're trying to shed light, use this as an opportunity from our own gym experience to be really realistic about what we've found, and hopefully that will inspire other people.
Literally. We're really grateful for all of you guys that are tuning in and showing us support,
and hopefully some of what we say can resonate and inspire you to pursue your own healthy lifestyle.
Literally. So in terms of us now, you know, I think we've come a long way from when we started. I don't know about you, but
so it is 2023, and we've had, I think, both of us each individually 2 solid years of consistent gym experience, and that's training 5 times a week, weights, resistance training mostly. We've got a little bit of HIIT in there as well.
Only recently though. Nothing.
But I think we've come a long way from where we started, and I think we've definitely had enough experience now to be able to really share and reflect upon that.
Literally.
And this is just the perfect setting for it.
Literally, like to think. So we probably then properly started after lockdown, like 2021. So I was 16. Oh my god.
I know, and I would have been 21.
That's insane. Oh my god.
But way before that, what got you started?
Oh, good question. So I've been I was a dancer kind of from the age of like 3, 4.
Yeah.
Like I'd always loved to dance. I didn't take it like ridiculously seriously. Like I wasn't like a proper dancer, like how you see on Dance Mums. But it was the only thing that I kind of stayed consistent with throughout my whole childhood. Yeah. Like, you know how you do all these different hobbies, and the only thing that I kind of stuck to is dance.
Yeah.
And I did like freestyle, like the contemporary, street dance, which was like my ultimate fave, you know. Dancing to like Nicki Minaj was like character building. I did ballroom and Latin.
You sounded like such an all-rounder.
And also I even did some Bollywood towards the end.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, and I loved it, you know. And I think a lot of that stemmed to kind of then going into the gym, because I liked the feeling, how I felt after like a really intense sweaty session of dance. And obviously very much towards the end, when I was probably about 15, I started like doing a few competitions. I did 1 or 2. And even the training for that, I loved it, but it was so intense, and it kind of was quite eye-opening, and I thought, oh my god, like I'm not actually that fit. You know, like I might be able to dance, but like my stamina is shocking. That kind of, I guess, got me a little bit into the gym, because like I didn't particularly do that much, so I didn't really have much knowledge on what I was doing, but all I knew was that I'd go to that gym, I'd walk on the treadmill, and do a few crunches, a few squats, and that was that, really.
Yeah, I guess it's just feeling that sense of routine and self motivation, self drive, maybe from dance.
What about you?
Me, why? Well, what got me started even. So I guess I was similar in the sense that I also came from a dance background. So my mum was a salsa dancer.
Oh my God.
And she used to teach in my school. And I was very much like a part of that. I was always that kid at the front of the class doing the demos.
We would have gotten very well.
I know, yeah. And it was quite a special time. And she really did inspire me in that sense of fitness. And she looked so lovely as she was dancing and moving. And it was just amazing to feel like my body was capable of doing that even at such a young age. So that's where my, I guess, love of fitness really first came from. But then as I got older, my level of fitness really declined, and I really noticed that again with my family, where my brother's, well, he used to be very athletic, and he was doing gymnastics at the time. This guy would be climbing trees and doing backflips on the trampoline, and I'm there, I'm too scared to do a roly-poly. And my mum also very fit, you know, all of us collectively going on these bike rides, and I'd be trailing behind.
Oh my God.
And not because I'm short, but because I was just that on.
That's just a bonus.
It's just the cherry on top of that. So it was a big motivator, was to feel like I want to be part of something. And I didn't enjoy feeling unfit. It wasn't nice.
Yeah, I bet. I know how you feel. I'll be like, girl, like, I've just walked up some steps. Why am I dying?
Well, yeah, it's that, isn't it? It's just I guess the shame that I felt from it, and I didn't quite understand why it became that way. When again, like, I'd had these two sort of role models in my family who were always fit, so didn't really have an excuse. But I think reflected upon that in lockdown, so 2020, and I would have been 20 at the time. I'd before that dabbled in some gym during my sort of later school years, so sixth form. And again, that was in a time of more quiet and space where I was studying, so the gym or just working out, training was something that I used as a tool to keep focused, and again, that time away from people. Also, though I shouldn't have been doing this, but it did give me time to like kind of research a few things and learn a bit about it. But then lockdown hit in 2020, and that really gave me the space to take it to the next level. So
lockdown, I think, was like the ultimate trigger kind of to where I am now. You know, like I said, so obviously I was going to the gym a little bit before because of dance when I was probably about 14. But this was very, very inconsistent. This was, like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of going because I felt like I should. I do think a big part of it as well was this whole social media side of it. And obviously this comes into play a lot more in lockdown. When I was 16, and obviously all the gyms were shut. So it resorted to YouTube videos, and, you know, you get your little yoga mat out, your little booty bands, and you start following these people who have like these amazing bodies, and you're like, I want to look like that. You know,
I think there was a big platform for fitness influencers at that time of lockdown 100%. In 2020. They really came to the surface because everybody was going online because there was nowhere else to go. And it was a big time, I think, for the influencer, and I can certainly say that for myself too, that I was very drawn to them and very inspired by their physique, their aesthetic, and I wanted that for myself, not because I was majorly insecure and uncomfortable in my own skin, but there was definitely a driving factor there in seeing these gorgeous looking people.
I think it made me realise as well, like the minute the gym shut was when it was a real eye-opener, and I was like, oh my God, I miss the gym. Because I didn't really obviously feel like that before. You know, and I was a bit like, oh my God, maybe I like it more than I think. You know, even though I'm not maybe seeing huge progress and I'm not really doing anything that's overly effective, I really miss that place. So, like I said, next best thing, you know, you're doing all these little home workouts. And I guess I didn't even realise at the time, but I was teaching myself so much without trying.
Yeah.
You know, I went from working out every single day, you know, every single day without fail, like it was ridiculous, for like a solid like month, you know, to kind of doing the exact same workouts, to kind of using these bands. I bought myself like a 20 kilogram dumbbell, and I used to like prop myself up on the edge of my bed and do a little hip thrust with it.
I know the dumbbell that you are referring to.
Literally. And it cost me so much as well. It was like £80.
Honestly, all the prices skyrocketed in lockdown because they realised that people were going after all the gym equipment.
Yeah.
I don't know what maybe it was, as I say, these sort of influencers really coming to the surface. Maybe it was the fear that, we're indoors, we're not moving enough, we're going to change, not for the better. I used my Amazon vouchers from my lovely uncles that bought that for me. I used it to buy a bar. It was like a 25, I still have it, 25 kg bar. I had no idea what I was doing with it, but
that's what I mean. You just can't teach yourself though.
Yeah, I think it was a great space for us to start doing research and looking up, like, how do you do this exercise? What is a hip thrust? The very beginning of actually doing resistance training as opposed to just rolling out your mat and doing some crunches.
That was a huge phase. I do think you go through like these phases kind of as a gym person, but obviously kind of we're speaking as a gym girl, you know, and lockdown was probably the biggest phase of all. But yeah, within time I kind of like, there was these fitness influencers, obviously specific ones that I was looking up to, and I was looking at them and I was like, oh my god, I want to look like that. You know, but the thing is, they put things out there like, get this arse in 13 days. And it is very, very misleading, because it's never going to happen like that. And the only way you're ever really going to learn that is through experience. You know, I wouldn't have learned that at the time. It's a case of, you've just got to go through it, and you've got to try all these different things to realise, like, you know, that's not the case. Yeah,
and I think your initial, like, reason for getting started, like what gets you started, that grows, or it doesn't, over time with experience. Good thing for us it did. And I think, as you say, we learned a lot through, especially that lockdown experience. You're really forced to look in the mirror in that time.
That lockdown was, I think, genuinely the catalyst for like how we are now.
Absolutely.
And what's become of us.
I think it just gave us the perfect space to really reflect and try and learn a thing or two, and my god, we looked stupid in the process, but I'm so grateful for that time. And I guess it set us up for coming out of lockdown in, I'd say, 2021 into 22, when the gyms reopened.
I was so excited.
The
minute those gyms reopened, I was back in there. But this time it was kind of like I was going in with a background of a little bit more knowledge. Obviously, because throughout lockdown, even without kind of trying, I was kind of doing this research, watching these people, learning about all these different types of movements and what's good and what isn't. So obviously I was going back to the gym and I was like so eager. I was like, oh my god, I can try all these things out. And that's exactly what I did. And I haven't looked back.
No, exactly. You really do put those things into practice when you're in the environment to do that. So in the free weight section, I mean, that took me a while to transition to, from coming off the mat in my bedroom to that. It was still somewhat of a challenge. But I'm so grateful for it, and as you say, I haven't looked back.
It's quite daunting though, isn't it? You know, like from when you're used to kind of being secluded in your room, doing some crunches on a mat, maybe in the garden if you're lucky, to kind of going into this big kind of place with loads of weights and experienced people who are really overly confident and strong and loud, and you kind of walk in there, especially as, I guess, a young girl, and you're like, like, I shouldn't be here.
No,
like, this doesn't feel like right.
It can be a really intimidating environment for a young girl.
And I appreciate, and for a young boy, and for everyone.
For anyone, but I guess from our own experience.
As a young girl. And I appreciate why, like, that is quite a big reason I think a lot of people don't go or don't keep it up, because of this whole feeling intimidated. And I really, really, I feel that, you know. There's only so much we can really, I guess, say to help. But, you know, there are little things I think you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you're always going to reach these barriers, reach these hurdles along the way that you really don't anticipate, you don't expect, because your initial reason for doing anything that you don't have an understanding of is always going to be quite small in comparison to what the thing actually encompasses. You know, I want a nice body. Well, to get there, you have to do A, B, C, D. It's a long line of stuff, and it's forever a learning experience.
I think that was a big lesson for me. Like how I said, obviously, this whole you can't get what you want in like 2 weeks. I think it really, really showed me that there are no shortcuts. At the end of the day, if you simply want to be healthier, you want to look better, you can get all these surgeries, but if you genuinely want to do it properly and sustainably and long lasting, you can't get your ass in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not going to take a couple of weeks. You're not going to do like a week of squats and then have a big arse. You're not going to, you know, do a plank for a few days and get rock solid abs.
Yeah.
It takes months and months of dedication and like discipline and hard work.
Yeah.
This isn't to put you guys off. It's just to be really, really real.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of self-drive, but I think that's a big reason for doing it, and your life transforms as a result, and so did the people in it, and that's how we met, was through the gym.
Literally. Like, it's crazy, like, to think we literally met like a year ago.
I know.
Like, oh my god, I was like 17.
And I would have been, how old now? 22?
Oh my god. That's insane.
So we met, was it 2022 then?
Yeah.
Yes. And I was on my little hip thrust.
Yeah, we were on like the squat racks next to each other. And she was doing her little hip thrust, and I don't know what I was doing.
I think you were squatting and wanted a plate from me.
Yeah, I came over and I was like, can I use a plate, please?
And even then, you really inspired me and you really helped me. And that was so unexpected because, again, when you're in a gym environment, or not quite at that point, this is later than when we really started getting into the gym, but you do initially expect people to be quite reserved and maybe not so wanting to help, but you really did. And I found that with a lot of the people, especially at our gym, that the people do want to help, and they do admire the fact that you're going there to improve. And our
gym, because I really, really like our gym community. I can't talk on behalf of every gym, but obviously this is the gym that arguably I've grown up in. You know, I've been going there since like mid-secondary school. You know, I'm now like, well, I would be first year uni kind of thing. You know, that's quite a long time scale to see me kind of grow in that place. And it's always like those same regulars, and you they become people that you just regularly kind of talk to, and you help each other, you kind of like motivate each other. It's really, really nice. Yeah,
you definitely attract what you are. And that really does show in that environment as well, that the people feel good and they reflect that on others around them. 100%. So it was an unexpected thing, again, as I say, like for myself, I didn't quite expect that, but I'm very grateful for it, and here we are now sharing that with everybody who's listening,
which I couldn't be happier to do.
And
I think the gym as well, like obviously we had our reasons for them starting, like fitness and aesthetics, but like there's so many different things that come from it that you don't really realise. Like a big one for me, like, was my, like, mentally.
Yes.
In terms of, like, it gave me this whole, like, independence, like, this confidence to be alone. Like, I'd always been very, very, like, not dependent on people, but I liked having one main best friend. The thought of, like, going anywhere alone, absolutely not, like, never in a million years, you know? I've been so used to having like a big friend group and really, really strong friendships that like the thought of being on my own at any point was kind of like so terrifying. But kind of, I guess, constantly going to the gym, it gave me this kind of self-empowerment and this kind of courage to be on my own. Yeah. Because obviously when you rock up to the gym, I mean, unless you're obviously going with someone a lot, when you go alone, you kind of just are then used to being on your own. And then, I don't know, I guess, you know, you kind of just, not intentionally, you isolate from people a little bit because you're happy with your own space.
Yeah, I think there's something that's so empowering, as you say, about being able to be in your own company and do something for yourself. This is so beneficial to your life. Yeah. It's, it gives you a really strong base. That certainly did for me.
Same.
In a similar way, I had different friends before I started.
Oh God,
and
yeah.
I mean, I'm not really friends with those same people, but it really does that. It changes you, and
yeah.
And I think in a really positive way.
Yeah.
Because like you, I don't feel like I need to rely on people as maybe I would have in the past.
Yeah.
I feel like I've genuinely got something concrete that I've worked hard on for myself that I can always come back to.
100%.
And it's always going to be there because I'm always going to put the work in. It just teaches you how to take responsibility, how to be accountable for your own life.
Yeah.
And
if you want something,
yeah,
you have to go out and get it.
Yeah.
No one can do that for you.
Yeah, it's a real big transition from being motivated to get a big ass, you know, not want to fall off the toilet seat, to to throw it in there. Love it. to going to the gym, being consistent, because it betters your mind and your
that mentality.
Yes, you know? It's
and then, as you were saying, like with the whole friends thing, I can really relate to that in a sense of, you know, I had, like I said, I was always been used to kind of having this big friend group, and kind of drama, I guess, broke out, and this would have been at the start of like year 13, like that summer, kind of thing.
So what year would that have?
I would have been 17.
Okay.
So it's literally like just over like a year and a half ago. Oh my God.
So 2020, 21.
No, yeah, 21.
So around 2021.
Yeah. So
you had this friend group.
You know, kind of things went a bit south. There was quite a bit of drama. And I took a very, very different approach. I think the gym, in a way, kind of maybe humbled me. You know, I'd always been quite, I don't know, a bit mouthy, and like I'd always react a lot to a lot of situations, and people knew that. And in this situation, I took a very different approach. I took a step back, and I was like, do you know what? No.
Yeah.
And I didn't give it any time of day. I did not react once. I didn't say a word to these people, you know, and they were going and they were going and they were like feeding for this reaction, and I wasn't giving it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't not have anyone. I did have still like a few solid friends, but majority of my friends I did not have anymore. You know, like it was quite lonely. It was quite shit. But, you know, I was okay with being alone, and I was more content with being on my own than being around those people.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to throw shade and like say they're horrible people, because they're not. They're lovely people. But I was happier on my own.
Absolutely. Well, nothing is lonelier than being in the wrong company.
Yeah, you know, it just showed me, I guess, that I was okay on my own.
Yeah.
And I got through, and trust me, year 13, I didn't really like year 13 that much. Because I'd been more alone that year than I had my whole life. And that was not to say that I couldn't have been, because I probably could have been absolutely fine with them. But I chose peace, you know, and I guess the gym is the whole instigator.
Yeah.
It made me realise, you know, you're good on your own, you work hard for what you want, you know, your time is valuable.
Oh, yes.
Why are you wasting it on these people that you have no interest of actually really being friends with anymore?
You've said that so well. That's so true. And yeah, exactly. It's just a very transformative thing, and it's a very grounding space.
Yeah.
If you allow it to be.
Literally.
And I think you've definitely done that. I mean, from what I can tell from the kind of things you say, it really does change your perspective, and it just it kind of allows you that sort of freedom to do your own thing, have that, and care a lot less about what people think.
Oh my God.
It's funny how this whole experience starts out as a comparative thing. You're comparing yourself to others. You're maybe thinking about what others are thinking of you. Yeah. And then it turns into such an independent journey and place and mindset, and it's
really transforming, isn't
it's
it?
very, very, very transformative. And for us, it's got to the point where now we want to inspire the people, and we're both PTs, just starting out, but this is again another thing that we wanted to do, was just,
it's crazy, like it literally I guess kind of paths our careers as well. Not only was it a sense of like place to like de-stress and improve yourself and meet good people, but it was also, it kind of carved our future.
Yeah.
I think that is irreplaceable.
Yeah, no, I think it's been it's funny how it started, or what got us started. We're so far from it now, but it's something I'll always look back on and always be grateful for, because without that, who knows where we'd be.
Literally.